Hello, everyone. My name is Dara. This is Dear Hallmark, and this is a safe space where you can come and talk about all things Hallmark Channel. Now, normally I'm by myself, but I am not by myself today, you guys. I am joined by a Hallmark favorite, our resident outdoors girl. Like, you want to know somebody who stays outside? It's our girl, Cindy Busby. Cindy Busby, girl, how you doing?
Yay! That's me. I'm outdoorsy.
You are, when
I'm not
I
a
saw the
camper.
title of the, yes, when I saw the title of the movie, I was like, oh, got it. And another one, and
Done.
another one. But
Another.
how are you doing?
How am I doing?
How are you?
I'm I'm good. I'm good. Life is an ever evolving roller coaster experience of magic and everything in between. And I'm just living for it. So yeah, life,
Love
life,
that.
life is pretty great, even when it's not,
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Finding the silver linings. That's one of my favorite songs by this jazz singer, Leslie Odom Jr. Like it puts me in a happy mood. Just look for the silver lining and you'll find the better things in life. So
That's right.
I love that. I love that so
Yeah.
much. But this is your wildly, this is only your second time here, which feels so weird, but
Right? Well, it's because
because
we met in person more than we've ever chatted on your podcast
that's
because we've met
true.
at Christmas Con. And
That's true.
and I feel like we see each other a lot on Instagram, obviously, which is like the beauty and also like the weird thing about social media is like you actually feel
Yes.
like you know people, but you like
Yes.
don't know their ins and outs of life because you
Yes.
only see like literally a snippet of anything. But
Yes.
it's also really magical in that like it lets us two connect when we probably never would have, which is like
I
so
agree.
incredible.
I agree. You were one of my first interviews
I know.
when I started the podcast, which is like that was 3 years ago, which is so
Is it?
wild.
Wow.
It
Wow.
feels
What a
like
what a
it's
world.
been,
And
listen,
that's
it
all
feels like
thanks
it's been
to
lifetime.
Tyler Hines, who literally like posted about you. And I was like, who is this? And then immediately I heard you speak like I heard you utter like a sentence. I was like, oh, I must know this person. Immediately.
I remember getting that notification. It was like Cindy Busby followed you. And I was like, no, is this is and then I looked,
Like
make
you're
sure it
checking your
wasn't like
pulse. You're like,
spam.
did I die? What's
I
happening?
was like, is this a I wanted to make sure it wasn't a robot. It wasn't like spam. I was like, let me. And I was like, something happened. And I found out on the back end what happened because I didn't know. Like someone had to tell me that
Uh,
I never checked, like my Instagram was so new, I never checked my DMs.
yeah.
And when I wasn't following or connected to a person, it
Yeah.
came into like the request thing and I never
Yeah.
checked it because I'm like, don't know if I care.
Yeah.
So I
You
but
probably
sure
won't
enough,
find a lot of good things in there, like photos you don't want to open, etc. So it's probably better that way.
exactly. So can we talk real quick? Because the last time the general public have seen you on their screens, it was for this beautiful present called Everything Christmas. When I tell you, you know that, ma'am, I adored that. That movie was so charming. It's
Yes.
disgustingly beautiful. Like it reeks of just, it's just, I can't even. Can you, it hit all the feels. Like that's what it just gave me everything that I wanted and need in my Hallmark Christmas movie. Like it is a quintessential Hallmark Christmas movie in the best way. And I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed you and Corey together. I enjoyed you and the woman who played your best friend in that.
Cat
Like
Gravel. Yeah.
everybody was on it and I loved it to pieces and bits. But okay, I'm gonna shut up and let you go.
No,
Just
I
start
I
wherever
love it. I
you want.
love I mean this is what we do it for, is to hear you and lots others hopefully of like how you enjoyed the work and that movie like it came to me in such a like a divine way because I had just finished the Zion National Park movie. Um,
Hmm.
and I had a little break, and I had gone through a little bit of a hard time in my life. And my mom and I, on a whim, we were like, let's go do the trip we'd always wanted to do. And we went to Spain together for 2 weeks, and it was like pure magic. And it's definitely like I couldn't recommend that enough to do like something like that. And we hadn't really done anything together for that long a period of time in such a special way ever. And so like my heart really needed that. And then when I was on vacation, I found out about this movie, and I literally flew from Spain to Newfoundland to do this movie. Like it was
Oh
like
my God.
my carry-on for my trip. Like it was wild, but it came in such a divine way because I think that the magic that that movie brings. And I remember reading the script, and actually Chris read the script before me because I was on the trip with my mom. I asked him, I was like, babe, I don't have time. Can you read the script and just like give it thumbs up or whatever? And he read it, and he's like, this is honestly one of the best scripts that you've done. And I was like, I'm in. Like, this is great. And then I read it, and of course I knew exactly what he was talking about. But yeah, it's just a really like I think it's the quintessential like what Christmas and this Christmas spirit and any holiday spirit truly means. Like it's the essence of it all, of like of magic, of coincidence,
Mm,
of letting
mhm,
go, surrendering, believing. And I think that there's, whether it's about Christmas or whatever, it's about life and about how sometimes we just have to allow life to happen. And when we do, we're really like surprised at how incredible it can be when we just like kind of like Jesus take the wheel sort of thing, and like allow
literally.
that to be. So that's really, yeah, thank you so much for that. I really, really, and I had such an amazing time with those people. Oh my gosh.
I can tell. It
Uh,
totally reads
and
through.
I
It's
remember
so
reading
beautiful.
the script and being like, I don't know who this Santa Claus is going to be, but he better be like epic because this character is so huge and so important. And then we
Mhm,
met George, who is a very like established like theater actor and TV actor, yeah, he just like the first day I met him, I was like, oh yeah, they got him. Like they got like, this is it. This is it. And he was so incredible, and everyone, and Kat is like, oh, I love her so much. And I was and most of all to be part of a movie where it's like, I mean, sure, the love story is about my character and Corey's character, but it's really a girlfriend movie. Like it's a movie about
mhm,
two
mhm,
girlfriends on a trip. And like we really don't see that enough. Like we saw that in
mhm,
with the Wedding Veil movies, and it's showing up a little bit more, but I think we're so important in each other's lives. And so
mhm.
I really enjoyed that part of the movie. I thought that was new for me anyway.
Oh, I had so much fun watching it. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
accepting and being willing to do this movie. It was so beautiful. But something that came to mind as you were talking, because there seemed to be such a joy and such a, I don't even, your fairy dust just kind of seeped through when you were talking about it. And I wanted to know, what is it you love the most about acting? Like, what keeps you
Mm.
going at it? Because and I remember I talked with Brittany Bristow, and we talked a lot about confidence and how if your confidence isn't intact, like especially if you're in rooms like auditioning and things like that, like having a strong sense of identity and who you are and what you bring to the table, like the from what I can see from the outside looking in, like this industry can be very hard, like on you as a person emotionally and like in a psychological sense. So I wanted to know for you, what is it about acting that you just love so much that makes you want to keep doing it?
I honestly, the journey has changed for me. Like it's not what it
Mm,
once was. Like I think when I initially started, and I was obsessed with acting from the time I was like 4 years old. And I think a
mhm,
lot of that like honestly started from living in a household that was a little bit complicated and difficult. And for me, storytelling and becoming a character kind of was a bit of an escape, and
Mhm.
um it felt safe for me to play other characters and to experience feelings that maybe I didn't allow myself to experience in real life, and it felt safer to do so through my acting. And so I started doing plays and stuff, and I feel like that was also an outlet to be seen. And I don't mean like in a in a famous way. I mean like to like really be seen,
Mhm.
heard in a way that maybe I hadn't in my life.
Mhm.
And then through the years and getting to know myself and gaining confidence, and I think the biggest thing as an actor is like you can only be as good of an actor as you are a human being. And by good, I mean
Mm.
like really know yourself. If you there's parts of your humanity that you're not willing to look at and to really dig deep into and to understand and to see the ugly parts and see the great parts, then you won't really be able to dig deep in your work, because if you're not willing to look at it in your life, how are you going to look at it in your work?
Mm.
And I think
Mhm.
that part I really enjoy, like the psychology aspect of it, and learning to really grow and know myself so that I can step into a space and like really understand where this character, where this story is coming from, and really understand the depths of humanity, because there's so many facets of ourselves, and it's never
Mhm.
just what people see, right? There's so many like secrets. And like I had a teacher once asked me like, what is this character's secret? You don't need to tell me, you don't need to tell anyone, but you need to know it, and that is something that is living behind your eyes and in your mind that everyone is going to wonder like, what's going on with this? And that creates an intrigue that we all have. And then, all of that has led me to honestly what I love the most about my job or my career is truly like getting to speak to someone like you who's can receive the work in a way that has touched you, that might be different than touched, the person
Mm.
next door or the person down the street. And it's touched so many lives. Or maybe you didn't like it, and maybe because it brought up feelings for you that you weren't willing to accept or to acknowledge or to understand. Because I've watched things before where I'm like, oh, I don't like this, I can't watch it, or this person makes me feel something, and then
Mhm.
I ask myself, I'm like, well, why does that person make me feel this? Like, what is it
Right.
me that this is bringing up? Because it's never about the other person. and
Right.
and then also, honestly, just working with people. I love working with people. I love it so much. I love the people I get to work with on set. Like that to me is what actually fuels me, is those the people I get to work with, that I get to know, that I get to learn from, that I get to grow from. And like, because at the end of the day, once the work is done, like I'm kind of just like a person living in my place and walking my dog and doing those things. But to be able um to learn and work and make people laugh and have really intense conversations with people that you literally might never see again, to me that's like really, really special. And that
Mhm.
that act honestly fuels me. That really fuels me. And that has been my second coming in my career, is like recognizing that.
Mm. I appreciate you because you know how they have like a girl's girl? I feel like you're a people's person. Like you just like you even explain like just your love for people and for connection. Even I'll speak about myself, just the sheer encouragement and love that I was enveloped in when I was thrusted into your ethos. Just like I was like, that's why I called you Tinkerbell because I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Like you are such a loving, giving, supportive, encouraging person. And I love that one, I have the opportunity to be that for you if you may not hear it a lot. But I also love that we could also see that in your work, like again, with everything Christmas. It was just, I was like, I don't even know who else could have played that role. Like, I feel like that role was made for you just in the sheer nature of who you are. So for me personally, I want to say thank you because you've been such a big encourager and supporter, and like you're just so you're so beautiful inside and out. And so I just want to thank you for continuing in this business, in this industry, despite a lot of the hurdles that you may face. And
Mhm.
even in terms of the type of sets you're on and the type of movies you do, how it can be physically taxing. Sometimes it can be emotionally taxing, depending on the story you're doing. Because even when you were talking about digging deep, like I, I, I think back to an interview where people have talked about like having to go to certain places to feel certain emotions or like certain memories they
Yeah,
have to bring back up to feel certain emotions to add to the character in that scene, whatever they're doing.
yeah,
And that's not something for the faint of heart. Like that's I think it's incredibly brave. I
yeah,
think it's incredibly courageous, but I also love and appreciate you all as like as the craft of actors, but also just in being brave enough to do that. Because when I think about like, I've had people, ask me flat out, "Oh my gosh, are you an actor?" And I was like, "Oh no, 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 no!" Like because I know, like I to put myself back in those places that I'm trying to like either run away from or I'm like, oh, I dealt with like I don't want to have to go back there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's the emotional and the psychological work that you guys do that I
Mhm.
tip my all of my hats off to you guys. And I thank you so much for doing that. But mostly, I thank you that you're able to contribute to a space that is all about light and positivity and escapism with the Hallmark movies that you do. And you have another one coming out, which is the
Yeah.
primary reason why you're here today. But first, I just want to take a beat because I know I said a lot. Is there anything that you wanted to say in response
Um,
to that?
well, first of all, thank you for saying all that. Like I don't even know how to receive that except just saying I really appreciate you and I appreciate every single person that is ever supportive and loving because and the reason why it's so important for me to share in the love and the appreciation and is because I truly think that's all we are. Like
Sorry. I
it's,
don't even know why I'm crying. I'm just very
don't
emotional.
worry.
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
like this close to crying myself. It's good.
I'm
It's good.
so
It's
sorry.
good. It's good to have emotion. I I genuinely feel we're just like all we're just all connected. We're all connected. We're all here to just love and be loved and we all want to be seen and we all want to be heard. And I get it. I get it. And life is really effing hard. It's really effing hard, but it's also so freaking beautiful. And for that, I'm just like really I just want people to feel that like all the time. And and I feel like there's so much of the opposite of that and I might have some different thoughts and feelings um from what people share online, but I'll never share it because it doesn't matter. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, it doesn't matter. What really matters is that we love each other and we hear each other. And that's what I'm here to do. That's like my true calling. And if I'm given that opportunity through my work, then I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run with it.
I love
And
that.
I'm excited
I
about
love
that.
that.
So
I can relate to you so much in terms of like using storytelling to escape because I
yeah.
partly that's why I started writing, but that's also why I loved reading so much,
Yes.
is because I was able to just get away from whatever was going on at that time and just be somewhere else that's not here. And it's so cool that we can now bring that 3D and then now you guys can create and so because some movies are based off books, like you can literally create the world that we're reading about.
Totally. And
Um,
it's never going to be the same, of
oh,
course.
of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's just so cool still to like that's even a thing. Like I'm still so amazed. Like art in general, I think is just it's like the eighth wonder of the world to me. Like it's just such a beautiful thing that I like if we just were to sit back and to really think about it or even talk about it like you and I are doing, I think it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm so grateful for it, you
Yeah.
know, in general. But
Because when
oh
we're
my gosh, okay.
the
Oh
art,
gosh.
the art is when we're inspired, and when we're inspired,
Yes.
we're with spirit
Yes.
and we're in alignment, and that is all that actually matters. And that's like so, it seems so simple and yet not.
And that's another beautiful part of it because sometimes it's not even for us to try to figure out. It's
Just
just
is.
lean into it.
Yeah.
Just
And
lean
guess
into
what?
it
It feels so good. Why wouldn't you want to lean into it? Like it feels
Mhm.
like you're like, yes, I want this. And then when you're away from it, you're like, ah. And then when you get to it, you're like, ah, why did I leave this? Like this is amazing.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. So I gotta stop crying. But
Good.
can we talk
Crying.
about a white?
I literally cry when I see people win on The Price is Right. So like you're talking to the right person here. I'm like, I'll be on the couch on my phone, and then Chris will look at me and and I'm like, and he'll just look at me and he's like, "Are you watching a dog video?" I'm like, "People are awful, and I can't." And I'm just like, "Ah." He's
That
like,
is fantastic.
it's the best. Animal videos, man, they get me. Speaking
That
of
is fantastic.
of
Oh,
my games,
there she goes.
she goes, there
There she
she
goes
goes, there. My angel.
again.
All right, back to business here.
Yeah, let's get down to business. So, a Whitewater Romance, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
We were on Instagram Live together, and before we parted, you said you may be talking to me soon about something that's coming up, and literally like a couple days
Like,
later,
it was pretty crazy. I will admit, though, when we did speak, I had no idea when it was coming out. And then, of course, in true, like, amazing fan fashion, you guys are always the ones telling me, Cindy starring May 11th. And I'm like, of course you guys are telling me this. Like no one else tells me this except you. You guys are literally my publicists. Like I should be paying you.
well, now we know the air date, May 11th, but can you talk to us a little bit? Because we've seen a bit of the trailer, so we know your co-star is Mr. Ben Hollingsworth, and from the gist of it, it looks like it's like a corporate retreat competition thing. But I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
take it and you tell us.
Hopefully my
Like,
memory serves me correctly. Uh, I play Maya, who works for Vesta Offices East. And I get a call from Allegra Adams, who's the CEO of Vesta. And Vesta has several offices. And she's invited me, Maya specifically, to a corporate retreat, which you got, correct? Ding, ding,
okay.
ding. And I'm wondering like why I've been invited to the Rocky Mountains to go on this retreat. And my boss, Marilyn, played by the incredible Heather Dorkson, who I did a movie with years ago, who's magical. And her character tells me I need to go to this because there must be a strategy as to why I was invited. Because we have a new program coming up called the Highlight Reel, and it's an app. And she assumes that Allegra is trying to find out which office will win the account for this new
Mm.
contract. So my character goes along trying to compete with the fellow people that are there, thinking that I know what Allegra's up to, even though nobody else knows. So I'm in competition with everyone else, taking notes on everyone, and then like reporting back to Marilyn while nobody else knows that I'm doing this. But it's outdoorsy, and my character Maya is not outdoorsy. She's like, wait, what? Oh, this is not in a cabin. What's happening here? And no one knows what's going on. And then, of course, Benjamin Hollingsworth, who plays the character of Matt, he's kind of my nemesis in it. And we're in constant competition together where we're winning points, and there's like a leaderboard. But then we come together where Allegra puts us as teams. And of course, who finds themselves together but Matt and Maya. And
Mm.
um, and then they come together in a really cool and beautiful way, and they come up with this really great idea. And then, things might fall apart, but then, Maya finds out that they're going to be going on a whitewater rafting, and she's terrified of it. She can't do it. And because of that, she's scared she's going to lose the contract. So there's a lot of challenges for Maya's character. There's also a lot of things that she's really brave to overcome. And yeah, and it kind of is like a fish out of water sort of tale. But it's really fun. Like the characters in it are really fun. And there's a lot of like fun kind of cat and mouse competition in it where like this person wins and that person wins. And of course, my character keeps kind of screwing up and not doing well. So she's kind of being called out, and everyone's like, wah, wah, like,
Yeah.
play again. And I'm like, darn it, how am I gonna get good at this? Um, yeah, so what? Someone just called me. How did that happen? I almost
Your
picked up.
face was
Wait, my computer's on do not disturb. How rude. How rude. Let's quit that.
rude.
Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of the gist of the story. I mean, obviously there's so much to it, but it's a really fun, adventurous ensemble cast
Mm.
movie, which I really appreciate. And Yeah, I think everyone's really gonna like it. There's so many great actors in it, and I feel like it's a like a solid ensemble. And like we actually went like rafting, which is absolutely insane.
Was that your first time doing it?
Yeah, I was very scared.
I would be
But
too.
but I will say, so when we did it, it was the water was much lower than
Mm.
typically. Like typically people go earlier in the year, so the water's much higher because like the snow melted and blah blah blah. So when
Mm.
we went, the waves aren't like as massive and crashing. So
Mhm.
that was good, but there were a couple times where I was like, I'm gonna fall out the boat. I'm gonna right now, right now. This is it. This is it. The camera's gonna get me. But it was cool. I did the whole thing. We had stunt doubles, but they never ended up doing anything. Uh we
All
mostly
right
did it
now.
all. Hey, hey, hey. I'm just like
Hey,
conquering fears along with these characters.
I love that. How cool is that though? Like with each new character, you conquer a new fear. Like that's I
Yeah.
think that's a
It
story to be
it
told.
was it was really cool. Yeah. And like I said, we were mostly like a big group of people, Allegra, who's played by Kate Twa, and Jim, who is the owner of the rafting company, is played by William DeVry. And then we have Edwin Perez, who plays Lewis. And then we have Alicia Marie Ahmed, who plays Claire. So it's like a really like great group of people who have like really specific characters. And what I love most about this, because it was directed by Jason Bork, which was my first time ever working with him. There's a lot of comedy in this one, which, as most people know, I love to bring comedy in everything I do. And this one, like,
Mhm.
it was kind of like just go for it sort of thing. And so that was really special for me because I love being kind of like a weirdo and doing all that fun stuff.
So this is at least from what I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, this is your second time working with Ben Hollingsworth, right? Because you guys did Godwin Christmas, Meant for Love, I think that
Yep. Yeah,
installment
the
was
second
called.
one. Second one. Yeah, second one. Um, but we didn't actually work directly together, but he did an episode of Heartland which I
Ah,
in, but that was, and I think he was in season 1 or 2, which would have been when I was on the show. And
okay.
so we didn't like directly work together then, but I did remember like that he was around. And
Yeah.
actually we're with the same agency. So we've known each other for a really long time.
Wow.
I remember before we ever worked together, we'd run into each other at the office back when people used to go to like your agency office. And I remember actually helping him with an audition once because he was looking for a reader. This was like this was probably like 10 years ago, like a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and we like so I helped him with an audition, and so, like, we've known each other a long time, but, like, finally, when we got to work together on Godwink, that was, like, we kind of saw each other, we're like, "Well, it's about time, like, what the heck," you know? So that was
Yeah.
and then when I found out he was gonna be in this one, I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, audiences are gonna love this." So and it's like I mean, and we know, like, the story of Alice and Jack and Godwin Christmas was, like, really, like, heart-wrenching and so
Mhm.
beautiful and all the emotions, and this one will be, like, completely different, which is cool to get to do that.
What was your, or I should say, a memorable scene that you shot throughout the course of this movie?
There's a lot. Actually, there's a really beautiful scene where we're kind of looking out at the stars, which there's a lot in these kinds of movies, but
Mhm.
it was really like fun and beautifully done. Um, but I will say there's a funny scene where uh we do like this kind of like bullseye like egg toss thing and we have a slingshot and oh my god,
Okay.
Ben is gonna hate me for saying this, but, like, he gets so excited, like, he gets really excitable about stuff, especially when it comes about, like, competition and, like, sports and stuff, and we had a bunch of real eggs for, like, to show up on camera, but then for, like, practicing or when, you just, like, had a close up on us, you wouldn't see the egg slapping, so you just use a fake egg.
Mhm.
Well, he was adamant. Once in a while, he would like do a scene and he would just grab a real one, like on purpose. And then it would just like smash into his hands. Or he would, and then one time he tried to throw it on the bullseye, but he kept missing. And he's like, guys, I'm going to do it one more time. Dude, you can't hit the bullseye. Let it go. Like it was so funny. He was so adamant of getting this bullseye and he would throw it and it would like I think it hit someone once. It would go like into the bushes and he's like, "No, I play baseball. Like I can do it." It was so funny and he was so frustrated with himself because he was like so sure he could get it and then when he least expected it, he got it. And then he like broke a couple sorry Ben, but I say this in love. He would break like some of the fake eggs too. They would just like break into a million pieces. It was just like a plastic or whatever. So that was very funny and like very fun to do. Um and then we had to like break an egg on me. So like that like he actually got to throw it onto my shoulder. And one time like he like it hit like it just hit in a place it wasn't supposed to. And so it was fun. Like we had a lot of fun because it was very like game and competition oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. And there's a lot of like wetsuit wearing in this movie and
Yeah.
it was kind of hot at times and so we were just like so cuz you can't breathe in those things. So you're literally
Dang.
I mean, I must have lost like 10 pounds of just water weight from that sucker cuz I was just like wearing that thing and just sweating, but it was fun. It was really, really, really fun.
That was actually going to be my next question, was what the weather was like when you were shooting. Like, was it cold? Was it hot? So was it like mild? And then the
It was
wetsuits
it
just
was like
added.
it kinda was like in and out, because
Okay.
we shot it in, Squamish, BC, so,
Okay.
we were in the mountains, so it's kind of unpredictable at times, but
Okay.
we did get really lucky with a lot of the weather. It was very sunny, we did have a couple, like, dreary days, but it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't anything uncomfortable.
Yeah. What?
Unlike
Sorry.
Zion, when I shot the Zion movie, oh, baby.
Talk about it because I
I
haven't
know. That
talked
was
with you about that.
so cold. That was so cold. Like,
Oh
we were
wow.
freezing in, like, T-shirts and tank tops. It was
And
yeah,
we
that's
would
the
not have
toughest
known.
thing. Yeah, I know. Hey, we're professionals, okay? We're professionals.
Oh my goodness. So, what is something about your character that you feel like resonates with you the most with Maya?
Mm,
Or is there something?
yeah,
Maybe I should
no,
ask
I
that.
mean, I feel like there's typically always something because,
Hmm.
you gotta find the things that like you can relate to and that connects you.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think what uh Maya and I have in common is she's constantly trying to do the right thing. Like she doesn't
Hmm.
want to take notes and kind of like keep tabs on these like competitors, but she's doing it because she thinks it's for the betterment of her company and her boss is telling her, and she kind of gets lost in this like storm of like people telling her what to do and her trying to like people please and then finding out that this is not how she wants to do it and she wants to like and then she kind of wakes up and is like, actually, I'm going to stand in my own thing. This is what I'm doing and I don't care if people like it or not. And
Mm.
I feel like I have a very strong compass in that way through trial and error of being like, wanting to please other people, but at the end of the
Hmm.
day, like following my own integrity and like really pursuing that whether people like it or not. Um,
Hmm.
and having a good inner compass, I think, is really important.
That's really cool. I love that. So I'm trying to see how to ask this question. For people who may not have watched Hallmark before, but
Yeah.
they're just like, you know what? I need something light. I need something that's good going down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What would you tell them about your movie that could entice them to come watch it if they haven't watched Hallmark movies before?
If you haven't watched a Hallmark movie before, what are you waiting for? And also, so a Whitewater Romance is a really fun one because you have impeccable scenery of some of the most beautiful area in the world, which is British Columbia. You have one of the funnest activities you could ever do in your lifetime, which is whitewater rafting. And there's tons of fun games and it's kind of like the writer Julianne Wimbles, who she wrote it as almost like she called it like an adult camp where it's like you're
Hmm.
going there and you're playing with like your campmates and your teammates, and it reminds you of your youth, and there's something about it that's very playful and it's funny, but it's also really heartwarming. And I'm a sucker for 90s rom-coms. Like I loved them so much. And if you loved 90s rom-coms at all and you love nature and you love to laugh, Whitewater Romance is for you. Plus,
Ding,
look at
ding,
this
ding.
face.
Who can say no to that face? Oh my gosh. Well, Cindy T. Busby, the T stands
Yes.
for Tinkerbell.
Yes.
I want to thank you so, so, so,
Thank
so,
you
so, so,
so
so
much.
much for spending time with me, spending time with us. But before I let you go, I
And
wanted to give you just the space to say whatever it is you want to say about anything. I'm going to just let you have the floor. It is your moment to have.
wow. Well, first of all, thank you to everyone who will watch the movie and who is interested in watching Hallmark movies if you never have. It's important to feel really good, and um I think the biggest thing is find your magic like in life. Find your magic. Find the thing that feels good. And if something contracts in your body because it doesn't feel correct for you, follow that. Follow that. Your body never lies. Your spirit never lies. You're always being guided. And you just have to get quiet and slow enough to really hear the voices because they're there. You have ancient wisdom inside of you. And um, yeah, just take the time to get to know it because it's a really beautiful thing, and it certainly changed my life, and I invite others to do the same. And hopefully you can see some of that in the work I do. uh,
Well, everyone. Oh, are you finished?
no, that's it. That's it. I don't know. I could keep talking forever.
Listen, like I said, it's your moment. You could. We could go on to the break
No,
of dawn. This is your
I'm just
moment.
a girl who's having a human experience and happened to choose acting as their profession, and I'm just grateful for as long as I get to do it, and I get to speak to incredible people like you and connect. So thank you for having me.
Always and forever. Always and forever. Well, ladies and gents, she's Cindy. I'm Dara, and this is Dear Hallmark. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Ciao, my friends.
Okay, let's see how I stop this.